The next morning, Nick leaves, but not before saying goodbye to Courtney.
Call me when you get there safe and if you need anything.
Same deal.
Okay.
Okay. Same deal. Jesus.
I like those two together, they are so adorable. Nick meets Professor Jonas 2.0 because despite of what they said earlier, that's exactly who he is. Just a character meant to deliver information and nothing more. And I know what you're thinking. Isn't that what Professor Jonas was in the first movie anyway? Yes. But at least Professor Jonas was introduced to Ellison. He didn't drop out of nowhere. Besides, he felt like an actual character. This guy, I don't bother remembering his name. Why they just didn't use Professor Jonas instead of saying he mysteriously disappeared? I have no idea. But okay, do you have anything useful to add to the movie?
They ran across a strange transmission. Coordinates of a farm where an entire family was murdered.
Okay, that's kinda cool. Especially the urban legend-like angle. Nick also reveals what he knows and how he has been trying to stop Bughuul.
That's how I've been stopping it. I've been burning the houses down.
Wait, so the Oswald house that
We get some more exposition for the people who didn't watch the first movie, and Nick realizes Bughuul is using the kids to kill their families. I would say they also get a confirmation.
You should probably destroy that thing.
Yeah, I really should.
Okay, so I have mixed feelings regarding this scene. Yes, it wasn't a complete waste of time, and I know that it's important that Nick finds out about all this. But come on, couldn't this have happened earlier? In most sequels, the characters tend to understand the basics of what they're up against early on. So we don't have to wait for them to figure out something that the entire audience already knows or that is obvious as hell. Realizing this means a new level of danger for Dylan and Zack, Nick hurries back. However, things are not going well between the two brothers.
You should do something about him. And your father. And your mother.
For heaven's sake, will someone shut those brats up? I can't stand this. Don't those kids realize how pretentious they sound? What's next?
Fuck you, Dylan. Fuck you too.
Oh boy. Wow. You really want me to get in trouble with Uncle Tubby, don't you? While the movie deals well with the matter of the husband and the abuse, the same cannot be said for Zack. We never got a sense of his personality or if he got along with Dylan before this mess started. I don't know if he's normally like that or if he's acting out on jealousy alone or if he's turning out like his father. A point they do try to make, I might add.
Is that great? He's just,
Like Dad. It's true and you know it.
I think the movie is trying to leave it open for interpretation how much of his behavior is Bughuul's influence and how much is Zack's own nature. Not unlike the Shining novel, but the character doesn't have enough substance to support this idea. Ignoring the family drama, the ghosts still try to get Dylan to watch more tapes. It's okay, they have a very convincing argument.
If we don't do this tonight,
He'll get real mad at us. You don't want to make him mad.
Yeah, rinse and repeat. We see that Milo's killing his family by rat torture and... well, that's either over the top again or disturbing as hell. Dylan again refuses to keep watching the murderorama, but the Bughuul's snack/minions don't want to go to bed yet. While Dylan runs around, let's talk about one of the points in the How to Make Your Villain/Monster Scary manual, shall we? By now, you may have noticed what's probably the main issue with this movie. The actual COD, if you will. There's a necessary balance in horror stories about supernatural threats or monsters, and it is seriously lacking in here. It's often called the broken flashlight equation. To illustrate, you have a character and a monster in the dark. If your character doesn't have a flashlight, meaning that they, and therefore the audience, never learn anything about the creature they're up against, it ends up like the generic set of fangs drooling in the dark. Never showing the creature can be just as bad as showing it too much. The other extreme is what happens here. If your monster appears too much, people can get used to it and the fear fades. Especially when nothing really serious happens or there's no feeling of impending threat. So what do? You give your character a broken flashlight. Mean you show glimpses of the monster, but not all the time. Your audience needs to know the rules of the game, to know enough about the creature to fear it, and not see it enough to get too used to it. It's a delicate balance that depends a lot on what kind of story you're creating and what kind of atmosphere you're aiming for. Of course, showing the monster constantly might not harm your story, but this is not one of those cases. In the first movie, Bughuul was frightening because we saw the killings and we knew he was somehow responsible. At the same time, we had scenes making it clear that he was targeting and cornering the Oswald family more and more. But up until the end, we weren't sure of what he was doing or how. Again, we didn't know exactly how he made the kids kill their families, but we didn't need to. In Sinister 2, not only there's too much focus on those damn kids and the whole brainwashing thing gets old, but Bughuul does so little himself that he goes from an ancient creature of darkness to a lazy villain who wouldn't be able to do anything if it wasn't for his minions. It gets to the point when you could write him off the story, make it about the ghost children, and very little would change. Speaking of the children, it seems that Dylan has finally had enough of the rejects from the village of the damned. Took him long enough.
I won't watch any more movies.
That's what the audience is saying, kid. But Milo's reveals, wow, what a surprise. This was all part of the plan to get Zack to want to be like Dan. Well, with his acting, he'll fit right in.
Tell anyone, and they'll kill you and your whole family.
You're obviously going to anyway. Shut up and be scared. Things don't get better when the husband arrives in the morning with a court order to take the boys away. Not wanting to leave her children alone with abusive son of a bitch, Courtney goes with them. Later that night, they are having dinner and...
Stop it! No!
Next scene, please. Oh, good. Okay, I can work with that. Nick tries to warn the failure of a living being, but that goes as well as you'd expect. Okay, we get it. He's a bastard. Can we get to the part when he dies? The following day, Zack starts to film his family as part of his addition to Bughuul's personal tapes collection. Do you think that's how things went with Ashley? What if the child's bond with their family is too strong for this to work? What if they are too strong-willed? This is still dumb. When it seems like your brainwashing takes as much effort as this,
Give me a beer!
No, not unless you kill your family.
you have a problem. Do you know what would have been disturbing? If we just saw the dead children watching the tapes, then one of them holding Dylan's hand in a silent invitation and he sitting down to watch. If we saw Dylan and Bughuul from afar, maybe with Bughuul crouching down as if he's talking with the kid somehow. And considering how he uses things related to arts, like paintings or music, we could see him using that to reach out to Dylan. We would see Bughuul working his influence, but there would still be enough mystery about it. Hell, you could have done this with Dylan and Zack, making us wonder which of them would fall under Bughuul's spell or whatever. Anything would be better than this mess. Dylan manages to get his mom's phone and tests Nick for help. Good timing too, since Zack plans to kill his family that night. In the middle of a skull-shaped cut in the plantation that no one will see in the movie he's making. I'm not sure he took the time to make that, but the way those piles are arranged, it's either accidental or another exaggeration. I don't know which is worse.
I'm gonna make the best one yet.
I really don't think so, kid. I feel even Bughuul would be like, that's it. One of the kids run a lawnmower over her parents' face, the other buried in the snow, and this kid is just ripping off Isaac's sacrifices. How can I jerk off to that? The father, of course, dies first, no loss, and Nick arrives just in time to save Courtney and Dylan. And because Zack apparently sucks so bad at this, He didn't drug the family, so they run away.
Leave him, he's dead to us.
As for me, I call you back to Dylan's nightmare. If it was about him killing his family, why did he dream about them running off? We knew Nick would come to help, but he had no way of knowing that. And if it was about Zack doing it, why the dream was from Zack's perspective? They run back to the house with Zack and the Omen Club right behind them. Nick hides Courtney and Dylan, which would make more sense if they were drugged and able to defend themselves, wouldn't all screw it. The ghosts decided to play poltergeist as their search goes on for a while, until Zack finally finds his family and... Being now unable to record his sacrifice for Bughuul, Zack takes it... quite well.
He's gonna be mad. He's gonna be so mad.
Bughuul finally gets off his lazy ass and... consumes Zack at once? Or just kills him? I'll assume he just kills the brat, since otherwise Zack failing at making a sacrifice wouldn't matter. And for some reason sets the house on fire because... Look, when I said we don't need all the answers, I didn't mean that we don't need things to make sense. Dylan and Courtney live with Nick, but it's not over yet. He returns to his hotel room to get his things and... surprise!
Alistair, pleasure to be meeting you, sweetheart. Quite a pleasure.
Yeah, I wish. No, it's just the children's voice and, you guess it, the final jump scare. What does that even mean? Did Bughuul just kill Nick? Why did he do that before? Did Bughuul drag him to his realm to consume him? In any case, isn't this breaking his own rule of existence? That he can only kill people who lived and then move it out of the house where one of his minions killed their families? Oh, let's be honest, it doesn't mean anything. They just wanted to end in a jump scare because that's how the first movie ended. And that was Sinister 2. What the hell? It's not one of the worst sequels out there, not even one of the worst movies, but it is so weak. The first Sinister had a great atmosphere and pacing, which the sequel doesn't even bother with. It rushes in all the scenes that should be meaningful, while dragging on the wrong ones, so you often feel that things are just happening with no real progress. It often exaggerates when it's trying to scare you, which simply doesn't work. Sometimes a whisper leaves a greater impression than a scream, and this movie doesn't understand that. Yes, it still has good moments and ideas, and most of the actors do a great job. But when it messes up, it really messes up. It's a shame, because I think there was a lot of potential with Bughuul and how he was supposed to act. Maybe if things had been different, he could have become a great monster, but sadly it wasn't meant to be. Not quite a plague, but like with many sequels, you're better off watching the first one. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next session, everyone. Stay safe.